Right, I'm gonna get spotted stalkering, okay? Oh, someone had to do that, really?
Where is he? Oh, he didn't come out yet. Okay. Get rid of my clone? I think he did.
Fucking
Oh,
hell.
I have an
well.
idea.
That happened.
He's still alive.
He's dead.
Wow. He's dead.
His animations just didn't know that he was dead.
Yeah, he was busy casting that thing where he goes invulnerable. But while he was casting it, he was already dead.
Jesus Christ, Badger. Is that big enough?
Yeah, why is your stick so big?
Fucking hell.
Because I've got a proper build.
Look at the width of it. Look at the girth on that thing.
Look at the
You want to touch it?
No.
Sirs.
Look, there
the
you go.
fuck
Don't touch me with it.
Give it,
Hey,
give
get
it.
away.
I don't get it. It's like, I've got like
Is
a
that
tiny
better?
little bit of bamboo. He's got half a fucking tree.
Can you take pictures and sell them? Because this sounds like
Did
my
you
kind
send
of.
me pictures?
Yeah. Are you requesting dick pics?
No.
So the immortal Wukong is dead, but long live, I guess, the new Kong. The Wukong Rework is here, and I've had a good bit of time over the last day or so to run around and test him out. Survivability was, of course, the main concern that a lot of players had with this rework and those changes that came with his Defy ability. Rest in peace to immortal Wukong, and hello, I guess, to the more interactive version that requires a little bit more work with his abilities in order to stay alive as long as you might have with the previous Wukong. Now, the reality is that Wukong, or the new Wukong, can still survive a long time solo if you keep an eye on that Defy armor buff, use his Cloud Walk to heal or get out of trouble whenever you need to, and utilize his clone as much as possible. And by that I mean just give him the right weapons. Now for me, Wukong is much more fun now than he was previously, but he still has issues. That clone AI is one of them. It's still better than most of the AI in game, but it still needs a few fixes. Snipers in the hands of your clone seem to be hipfire. They don't deal anywhere near the damage they would if you were wielding that sniper rifle. Using an explosive bow like the lens, my clone was taking anywhere between 15 seconds to 20 seconds between each shot, which maybe my clone was just defective at the time, but it was quite painful to watch. Now with some melee weapons, they just run up to the enemies and do laps around them, not sure why, or they will hit them once or twice every so often. It will try to shoot through objects, so it doesn't really do line of sight. At times on my Mott survival, my clone was shooting at enemies underneath us, trying to shoot through the floor or through a wall or a pillar. So like I said, it doesn't do line of sight. So the AI could definitely do with being looked at. Now it probably won't be. Of course, Wukong having 85% damage reduction now is really nice. Even with 95%, you can still get one shot beyond a certain point, but that says more, I guess, about enemy scaling than anything else in the game, or maybe just my attention span while running that long in a survival. Now, 85% damage reduction, of course, isn't anywhere near what he had with his Defy ability previously, because he was able to stay alive indefinitely just by running around and keeping Defy active, and then when it got down low enough, you would run to a different room, heal back up, and then recast your Defy. So it's not anywhere near where it used to be. Now, he can still survive for a long time. 70 odd minutes solo in a Mott survival proved that for me, and the only real issue I had when running that survival was nullifiers. They kind of still one-shot me from across the room once they crossed level 100, and I think I lost all 3 of my Wukong lives in a very short period of time, all from nullifiers that were across the room or just as they walked into the room through a door. So they should definitely be priority if you're running with a Wukong. Ignore everything else and just take them out. Now I know his clone can now run up to a nullifier bubble and pop it, or can run into a nullifier bubble and try to kill that nullifier while taking damage inside the bubble. Once they stand inside the bubble, they won't just disappear, they will, I guess, their health will decay. So you can do that if you want to, but that can be kind of hard if you're in a full room of enemies and there is a heavy gunner or something absolutely melting that clone. It's not going to get to the nullifier in time. Now the AI, like I said, can be derpy at times, but if you give it a, say, Plague Kripat or a polearm with a very long range on it, it will clear a lot of enemies out. It seems to work better with a weapon that has more range. Now, for those of you who may not have seen my previous video covering the Wukong dev workshop post and all of his changes that were inbound, I'm going to quickly go over them right now, and I will share my opinions on the new Wukong at the end of this video. Wukong has a new passive, 5 levels of immortality. This gives him 3 lives per mission. These do not regenerate throughout the mission. Once they are gone, if you take a fatal hit, you will die and need to be revived. So with these 3 lives, if Wukong takes what would have been a fatal or killing blow, he will cheat death instead and become invulnerable for 2 seconds, get 50% of his health back, while also gaining one of these 5 new buffs. Primal Forces, which is one of the buffs, will boost his elemental damage by 300% for a duration. Heavenly Cloak will make him invisible for 30 seconds. Cosmic Armor will make him invulnerable for 30 seconds. Monkey Luck gives him extra loot for a minute. And Sly Alchemy will make orbs 4 times as effective. So energy orbs, health orbs, and so on. So the passive works a lot like the old Defy did, while also giving you a bit of a buff. So if you take what would have been a fatal hit, instead you gain health back and you gain this buff. His new first ability is his clone, his Celestial Twin, a mirror image of your Wukong, equipped with the same weapons, mods, cosmetics, the whole 9 yards. This clone will have twice the health of your Wukong, and when you use a melee weapon, it will use your ranged weapon and vice versa. When you shoot, it will use melee weapons, but it won't throw a glaive, it won't shoot the Redeemer and so on, just melee action. So that's a real shame. I really hoped that it would use the Redeemer, because I thought that could have been absolutely fucking awesome. But you can still use it. You can run with, like, say, a Stun Wraith and the Redeemer, and while you're using the Redeemer, he will be applying a shit ton of status effects onto enemies, which of course is going to make the Redeemer Prime even more of an absolute monster than it already is. Now, once summoned, your twin stays out indefinitely until it dies, so it's not duration based. Its health is also doubled of what your Wukong has, and it scales even further based on your Wukong's power strength. More strength, more health. You can mark an enemy with your number 1 again simply by putting your crosshairs over it and tapping number 1. This will make the clone focus attacks on that enemy while also dealing twice the damage it normally would. Now, a marked level 160 heavy gunner dies in a few hits from a Plague Kripat in the hands of your clone. So that's kind of my melee weapon of choice on my clone, simply because of the sheer range that it has, but also because of how damn powerful it can be. Now, his Cloudwalker ability is now a short duration based ability that moves much faster than before, removes all status effects when you cast it, but it also heals your Wukong and his clone very quickly. But you do need to move in the Cloud Walk in order for it to heal. Standing still inside the cloud won't actually activate the heal, you need to move. Now, healing is affected by power strength as well. You can pass through laser doors and not set off alarms, but I really enjoyed using his Cloud Walk as a way to open enemies up to finishers. You can use your cloud to close the gap across a room on a bombard or heavy gunner or whatever enemy you want to take out. Pop out of the cloud behind it, it staggers them, which allows you to do a finishing attack on them. So I guess daggers could be an option with your Wukong if you wanted to run a covert cloud build. His new Defy ability is now a short cast time that makes your Wukong and his clone invulnerable for a few seconds. They absorb incoming damage, and at the end of that absorption, they retaliate with what damage they stored up by spinning with their iron staffs and hitting anything near them. Power strength will increase the damage multiplier of that spin, and range will also increase how far the reach has. Now, it also will ragdoll anything that it doesn't kill. Absorbing the damage will also give you an armor buff that caps at 1500. This is duration based, so once the duration runs out on the Defy, on the armor that you gain from it, you can simply just recast Defy and gain it back. Now, it being capped at 1500 is a shame. I'm kind of hoping that Wukong Prime will have maybe higher armor values to allow for 90% damage reduction or even 95% damage reduction, because 85 is what we get now with the base Wukong, and I refused to put Umbral Forma on this Warframe for the simple reason that the Prime isn't far off, and I feel like forming a Wukong right now for an Umbral build is just a huge waste of Forma. Now, his Defy ability can be cast anytime you want. You can refresh it whenever you need to. It's another great way to save your ass when you're taking a lot of damage. Combine this with his new passive 3 lives and the healing from Cloudwalker, and you have a very, very interactive frame with a lot of survivability. Is it at the same levels as the old Immortal Wukong? No. But like I said, it's not as maybe boring as he once was, where you would just switch on the ability and leave it and that was it. Wukong's new Primal Fury changes are nice as well, basically running around with his big shtick, especially since your clone also runs around with his big shtick, and the combo changes are definitely simplified down. Standing still and hitting your melee weapon will deal more damage, but also gives a little bit of forward momentum at the same time, so you're not just stuck in one place. The right click combos will cause him to slam on the ground 4 times as well, which can be really nice for knocking enemies around, and the direction with attack will make him do a large poke with his iron staff and follow it up by doing a jump kick in that direction in order to close the gap on the enemy that you're trying to hit. It deals more damage, and with the iron staff always having the range that you used to have to get the combo built up for in the past, it's a huge bonus. The only issues I've had with the iron staff right now, with your Primal Fury, is the kind of auto blocking you do sometimes while you're mid swing, or when your Wukong will switch to pistol just as you're trying a right click combo. It kind of ruins the flow and it can be frustrating at times, but again, that's just me. Remember, everything in this video is just my opinion. Of course, you're going to have one that's completely different. This is my current build for my Wukong. I didn't change it a whole lot. You have to kind of build a little bit for everything right now in terms of duration and strength, definitely, because strength scales with so many different things with the new Wukong. Duration as well, to try and have a decent time on that defy buff, but range I feel is something that is going to be entirely up to the actual person running with Wukong. Now let me know what you think of the new Wukong, of those Wukong changes. Whether you like this version or whether you preferred the previous version, let me know. Of course, the deluxe skin coming with this would have been really nice on him, because let's be realistic here, right? Let's be realistic. Wukong is fugly as all hell. He's wearing a giant space diaper. I mean, come on, give us a goddamn good skin for him. And I think it's fair to say that he got those changes just in time for his Prime version to be released after Atlas, so maybe his Prime will have, like I said, a little bit of a boost in stats, which will allow him to have a little bit more damage reduction, and of course that's the one maybe that I will put my Umbral Forma on. Now, I'm enjoying the new Wukong. He's fun and no longer a switch it on and don't die ability Warframe, but it does kind of shine a little bit of a light again on the fact that the Warframe AI needs a little bit of an overhaul. Again, it's not as bad as some of the specters or some of the companions that we have in game, but it still shows that it can be derpy at times, trying to shoot through objects, running up to enemies with your sword and not actually dealing any damage, or just standing beside you at times and not doing anything whatsoever when there's an enemy right in front of it. Now, as always, do me a huge favour, hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe, and as always, thanks very much for watching.
Fucking hell.
Wait, no.
But mine will get bigger. No, but
Phil's
mine gets
was
bigger
like
like that, but then... Yeah, but then it goes away. You know what I'm saying?
It's old age, Phil the hair. It's like it's old age, dude.
I can't keep it up. I just can't keep it up like Badger.